Hey guys, my name's Sam and welcome to Prep Medic. In this week's video, we're going to be going over my lightweight plate carrier that I use as a SWAT paramedic. All right guys, so like I just said, this week's video is all about my lightweight plate carrier that I use as a SWAT paramedic. Now this is not my primary vest. I've actually done a video on my heavy kit that I use for most of our operations, so for our standard warrants and our barricaded subjects. But occasionally up here in Colorado, we get incidents that involve hiking a long distance, whether that's a manhunt in the woods, or we're doing vehicle operations where we need a little bit more maneuverability. So that's why I have a plate carrier. Now, full disclaimer, some of the stuff on here is issued, some of the stuff on here I bought myself, and some of this was sent to me. So, I try to keep this as unbiased as I can, and I get a lot of questions about, what I have to buy myself and what's supplied. Everything is supplied by my department that I need. However, some of the issued equipment isn't the best stuff and a lot of it's hand-me-down. So because I do have this platform and I'm able to, I do like upgrading my stuff just to be a little bit more lightweight, more versatile, and be a little bit higher quality. So that's kind of how that works. Now, the vest itself, this is the Core Performance Ice Plate Exoskeleton Plate Carrier. I have a full review on this plate carrier in and of itself. It's a minimalist plate carrier. As you can see, it's laser cut webbing. It is super, super lightweight and very strong with the material they use. So that's why I picked it for this, because I really want this to be as lightweight as possible. I've sat in this for about 8 hours, and even the little bit of weight that this is starts getting annoying after a period of time. So I'd highly recommend checking them out. I do have a link below to everything I'm mentioning. Now, on this plate carrier, one of the nice things are these shoulder pads. These are also by Core Performance, same person that makes the plate carrier, and it's just a super lightweight material that provides padding and breathability on your shoulders. Once again, this is more for the athletic operations where we're going to be moving around, hiking, walking long distances, or occasionally just sitting in a vehicle. So all in all, love the plate carrier itself. The armor that I'm using ShotStop's Duridium 3+ body armor. Very lightweight. This one here hardly weighs anything. I've got a full review on these as well. So altogether, I think these two plates come in at under 5 pounds. So they're really not adding much. Very comfortable. I have the shooter's cut for both, or for the front plate, and then an ESAPI for the back to provide the most coverage. And this gives me more maneuverability in the front. One of the trade-offs between a plate carrier and a full entry vest is that you actually lose a little bit of coverage. So while these plates cover your vital organs, you do have a lot left exposed, and I do not have any side plates on this. So just keep that in mind if you're looking for certain gear. A lot of people do like running plate carriers with soft armor under them. Generally in these operations, I choose not to, but that is a personal choice on that matter. So coming on to the gear on the plate carrier itself. On the front, I have 2 patches, one just a paramedic identifier and one my personal identifier here, just name, flag, TEMS. There's a lot of controversy with putting your blood type on any kind of gear, just because it's really not going to be medically relevant for them in the hospital. They're going to give you O-neg blood, or they're going to do a cross and match before they give you anything, regardless of what your patch says. So just know that before you start putting that on all your stuff. Now, down here, I've got the paramedic identifier and the placard on the front. Both of these are made by RDR Gear. This is the mission-specific placard, and this is the AMP, the Abdominal Medical Pouch, by them. So I like having this on here because it is so easy to take off. So if I wanted to run this slick, I can just pick this up, peel it off, unclip it up here, and then it's a slick plate carrier. You can wear it under a jacket and nobody would even know you have it. As far as equipment in the front of this, in the kangaroo pouch, I've collapsed that down because I'm not carrying rifle mags. We're an unarmed component with our SWAT team. So we attach to the SWAT team, but we get a bodyguard everywhere we go, essentially. So in the front here, I've got a pair of X shears. These are my favorite shears to use. They're just a lot simpler than the Raptors. You don't have to unfold them, and they're super tough and cut quite a lot. And then in here, I'm carrying a window punch and a handcuff key. I'm carrying a Sharpie, and I'm carrying an ARS needle for needle decompressions. Now I've put the RDR Gear pistol mag insert into the kangaroo pouch that can kind of retain these and keep them from falling out, but I can also take them out and just collapse that down. It gets a little bit thinner as well. So in the front 2 pockets, in this one here, I have 12 feet of webbing, and those have a carabiner on them. So your webbing is super important because you can actually form a hasty harness with this. So you can put this on yourself and actually do a hasty rappel if you have a rope set up, or you can put this on somebody else, a downed officer, teammate, or victim, and use it to drag them out of a dangerous situation and carry them if you get enough people. So there are a ton of uses for webbing, and that's what I carry in here because I haven't actually put a mega mover in this like I have in my full vest. On the left side, I have 2 basic pieces of equipment for Canine First Aid. We do a lot of canine work, especially in our manhunts where we're going to be wearing this vest more. We've got a lot of working dogs. So if one of them gets injured, I'm not an expert in it. I have the Canine Quick Reference Guide. Now this is by Ready Warrior, but it's actually sold. I got this from Triad Medical Training, who sent me a bunch of stuff, and it's been super useful. And this just has a bunch of information on treating a canine, everything you need to know, where to start an IV, how to give them fluids, basic first aid. And then I have a muzzle that is set for our primary working dogs. This will fit them. That's just super important. If you're approaching them, you know, they're scared, they're hurt, getting one of these on them is a must because they'll bite you otherwise, and that's not a fun time for anybody. So coming down to the abdominal medical pouch, in the main pocket here, you'll see that the inside is actually this orange color, and these all have detachable elastic loops in it. So I don't actually like that a ton because as you're pulling these out, you might actually get the elastic loop with it, which is kind of a pain. So in front here, kind of free floating, I've got a set of hyphen chest seals. These are the twin pack micro versions. I have a thing of Quick Clot, so for wound packing, super easy to use, and then a thing of normal gauze for wound packing or wrapping, whatever you need it for, but it doesn't have hemostatic agent in it. And then on this side, I have a small trauma dressing. So this is for wrapping a head wound, leg wound, or wrapping in the wound pack you just did. And then last but not least, I have a cat tourniquet at the very bottom of it. So, you know, kind of redundant from what I have on my belt. Keep in mind, everything in here does supplement my battle belt that I wear on these missions. So I've got a couple more supplies on that as well. Now, in the front pocket of this, I am carrying a couple other items. So in here, I've got an NPA, and so that's a nasopharyngeal airway, and it has some lube on the back to help that get in. And then I've got a survival blanket. So hypothermia kills, it's a pretty big deal in trauma. So try to have this on you to wrap somebody up, get them warm before they can be brought into the ambulance. And then I've got a set of frog tape. So this is just really durable tape. You can use it for any number of things. You can use it for wound closure, you use it for fixing equipment, you name it. Just a really useful thing to have. All right, so coming up to the comms. For a radio, I've got a standard Motorola, I think it's an APX 6000, something like that. I don't have any control over what we use for the radio setup just because this is department issued. So got the Motorola radio there, and then I've routed the wires. I have a push-to-talk system on here. So this is a really cool push-to-talk system, and that routes into my headset on my helmet, which I'll have a separate video on my helmet setup, and those are a set of Peltors there, so I can hear all the radio traffic in them. So the push-to-talk I have on here is really cool. This is by Atlantic Signal, and this is their Centurion push-to-talk. So obviously it's got a wire from my radio coming up to it, and then I've got a volume knob on the one side, and a push-to-talk on the other if I want to start transmitting. But what makes this special is that it has another wire I can take and I can plug into the top of it. And this actually allows me to connect my smartphone to it. So if I can get it in, there you go. So this will allow me to put on my iPhone. So I know that's ridiculous. I have to have a dongle because I've got one of the stupid new iPhones. But this will route to my iPhone, and that'll allow me to take calls, make calls all on my Peltor headset while still listening to radio traffic. So I don't need to take my headset off. I can do it on the fly, hands-free. And where this really comes into play for a tactical paramedic is if I'm calling medical control for orders, or if I'm coordinating with my teammates or the ambulance that's going to be helping us transport the patient in these situations. I can call them really quick. Most barricaded subjects and most extended missions, I'm calling multiple people at multiple different times because there's a lot of coordination we do in those regards. Now, this is also meant to interface very well with ATAC, which is the Android phone. It's basically for battlefield awareness, lets you have overhead views, do live cams on other operators, all kinds of things. I do not have that just because I have an iPhone and our teams don't utilize ATAC at all, but it is very useful for that. So that's honestly one of my favorite features. And then I can take the phone, just put it in the kangaroo pouch there, and it's really no issue. Now, my wire management is a little bit odd in here. I've been trying to find the best way to do it, and I just have a Grimlock attached to the inside here, and then the cummerbund here kind of keeps that on the inside. But they always give you more wires than you actually need because they don't know where you're going to be routing it. So all in all, I really like this vest. You know, it's pretty minimalist. And the other thing is with the Core Performance ice plate carrier is that it leaves the plate slightly exposed. So you need to make sure you have a plate that has a coating on it that can withstand some of the elements, especially if you're in a really hot or dusty environment, it'll erode the plate over time. The shot stop plates in here I'm not worried about. They've got a really durable coating on the outside and seem to hold up pretty well. Guys, that is all I have for this video. If you have any questions or want to pick up anything here, I've got links down below to everything I mentioned. I appreciate the support, and I will see you next week.